All right, let's talk about what happened to Monday. I'm really excited to talk about this movie. I just got done watching it a minute ago. It stars Noomi Rapace, Willem Dafoe, and Glenn Close. It is a Netflix original, and it is about a future where we're overpopulated, which isn't hard to believe, and they have cut it down to a one child per family limit like they did in China. And these kids are being taken from them, from all the families and basically told that they're being stored away. And then this mom ends up having 7 identical twins. And the grandfather, the mother dies and the grandfather takes them and he hides them away, and basically he raises them in, hiding, and he tells them that they all have to be each other, and eventually one day, like when they're a certain age, they're going to go outside during their name, which he names each one of them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so on. And on Monday gets to go out, but they're pretending to be the same person at all times. They record their interactions with people, they come back, they tell each other what happened so that they can go out the next day and beyond and so forth. It skips to like 20 years later, they're like 30 years old, and Monday goes missing. So now Tuesday through Sunday have to try to find out what happened to their sister. Immediately off the bat, what a fantastic concept already. I was already so drawn in by that concept. When I saw this trailer, I was like, oh shit, I love Noomi. I love Willem Dafoe. So I was already intrigued. Now, Netflix originals are something that are Netflix original movies. Netflix original series I love. I've seen like most of them and I'm a huge fan of them. But their films are usually not good. Outside of something like Hush, and I don't feel at home in this world anymore with Elijah Wood. Like, there's a very few amount of them that I was like, oh wow, that was good. A lot of them I end up just either being fully bored, shutting off, or being like, that was all right. So when I went into this, I was like, it's a Netflix original movie though, so be careful. And then I went online and I looked at the reviews and there was a lot of negativity. And I was kind of like, fuck, Netflix fucked it up again. Like, damn it, this movie looks so good. So I kind of put it off for a little while. It came out like a week ago and I was just sitting there. Now, some people might be like, oh, this is sci-fi, this isn't horror. If you don't think that the plot line of this movie is horrific and horror, then I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. This was terrifying to me. Especially since I have twins. I don't know what would happen. I guess they would take one of them. Oh my God, that's horror to dad right there. Anyway, so first, I'm gonna just straight out say, fuck those negative reviews. Straight up. I adored this film. I loved it. I did. My God. And definitely the thing I want to scream is Noomi Rapace is incredible in this movie. Like, I legit think she should win like an Oscar. She plays 7 different characters in this movie, and each one of them is distinct. And the amount of emotion, the amount of heart, the difference in personality. Now, this movie cuts back and forth from Monday to Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday throughout the entire film. And I never felt lost. Never once. Never was I like, who's this again? Now, granted, they do give them different hairstyles and different whatever, but it's the way she embodies each character that really sold it for me. So I was sitting there like, whoa! Every time she was on screen, I was compelled. Every time she did something, I was interested. And when she was sad, I felt sad. When she was mad, I felt mad. When anything, she had me gripped throughout the entire film. This movie has an incredible pace. It's a 2-hour movie. I thought it felt like an hour and a half. It just boom, boom, boom. Like, it was going so fucking fast. And not like this just disregarding things and dropping plot lines and, being crazy or trying to be like Crank or something insane. Nothing like that. It's just this movie has cut out all the bullshit and it gets to it. Another thing that I was really surprised about, which I didn't know going into it, was that it was not only rated R, but that they really used it. I mean, this movie really shocked me a lot of times because there's definitely a lot of things that happen in this movie I was not seeing coming, for sure. Now, there are things that happen in this movie that are a tad telegraphed, and that's all right. I'm not too worried about that. Anytime you have a sci-fi movie, I remember I was looking online at a lot of different reviews, getting very annoyed because of people's complaints about this film, and they were so silly to me because when you're writing a huge like in a future where a world's completely different and there's a million new variables and there's gonna be plot holes. There's going to be things that don't exactly work, and if you really sit down and you nitpick little things, I could sit here and I could nitpick 50 things off the top of my head that don't make sense. They're just small, stupid little. Letting that ruin your experience of a fantastic fucking movie like this, you're either a masochist or fucking stupid. I don't know which. I don't know. I mean, do I think everybody who didn't like this movie is stupid? No. I'm sure you're entitled to your opinion. But if it's for the wrong reasons, it angers me because this is such a good movie. This is such a good movie. This is such a great science fiction action movie. Like a Minority Report or something. It's like on that level for me. I think it's just as good. The only real complaints I have about this movie, I really don't even feel like are things that would change the film drastically for me. Like, I wish we would have got to know Willem Dafoe's character a little more or something like that. But that kind of stuff is a director's choice, and I totally respect it. Like, he definitely had a substantial part, a role within the movie. He's not in it a whole ton, but his role is significant enough. And do we need to know anything more about him? No, we don't need it. I mean, just because I've said this before, but like when I say I want more from something, it's usually a compliment. Because when I don't like something, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what else happened. I don't want to know anything else. Usually me being like, oh man, I wish I knew what happened here. I wish I knew what happened here. For the most part, that's usually a compliment. There are some times where I'm like, man, wish I just knew what happened here and the movie would have been so much better. But this isn't that case. Like, this is one of those cases where it would have been nice to know more here, for sure. But it didn't matter. Anyway, anything else I really could say about this film would all be spoiler territory, and I'm not going to get into that area. But man, best Netflix original movie I've ever seen. For sure. I mean, I loved Hush, don't get me wrong. Mike Flanagan is fantastic, but this is just a better movie for me. Hush is, I mean, I'm a slasher fan, so I'm not going to say Hush wasn't geared towards me, because it was, and it was wonderful, and I really enjoyed it. But this one felt completely unique and original to me. Now, I know I've heard it compared to Orphan Black. I've only seen like one episode of that, so I don't know how close it is to that show, nor do I give a shit. But I'm sure I'll watch that eventually, and I'm sure it's a wonderful show, but I'm not a person who likes to compare things all that much. Like, it's its own entity. Don't worry about it. You know, I hear people bagging on Ozark because it's supposedly trying to be Breaking Bad, and it isn't, and so it's just not as good. And it's like, no, Breaking Bad was really good, and Ozark is really good. You can separate the two, even if they have, you know, common things going on, common themes and elements, and they seem similar. Like, disconnect and just watch the fucking show, watch the fucking movie. So anyway, I absolutely recommend this movie, obviously, so absolutely check it out.